Now the equation given here is x square minus 6x plus 17 equal to 0. Now 17 cannot be factorized to obtain 6. Okay, so that is not possible here. So we cannot use the method of splitting the middle term. So we go by the formula method instead. So for the formula method, we need to compare the given equation. So we say comparing the given equation with ax square plus bx plus c equal to 0, we obtain the value for a as 1, the value for b is minus 6, and the value for c is 17. So first of all, we obtain the discriminant, that is delta. Now delta could be calculated as b square minus 4ac. So we substitute these values. So we have negative 6 the whole square minus 4 into a, that is 1, into c, that is 17. So we have 36 minus, and 7 4s as 28, so that becomes 68. So the value for delta here is, if we take the difference, we get the difference as 32. Now 32 could be expressed as 32 into negative 1, and this could be instead written as 32i square. Now this I, or we also call it as iota, this is imaginary unit. Okay, and we all know that the value for iota or I is nothing but root of negative 1. So obviously I square or iota square will be negative 1. So finally we have delta equal to 32i square. So now we could easily apply the formula for x. So x is equal to minus b plus or minus root of delta divided by 2a. So we obtain x equal to minus of, now b is negative 6, so negative of negative 6 plus or minus root of 32i square or iota square divided by 2 times a is 1. Now let us simplify this further. So x becomes, now negative of negative 6, that becomes 6 plus or minus, now 32 could be split as 16 into 2, and we also have iota square divided by, now 2 times a, okay, a was 1, so 2 times 1, so that is 2. So x is equal to 6 plus or minus, now root of 16 is 4 root 2 into iota divided by 2. Now we could take 2 as the common factor from the numerator. So if we take 2 as the common factor, we are left with 3 plus or minus 2 root 2 times iota divided by 2. Now this 2 and this 2 gets cancelled. So we have the value for x as 3 plus or minus 2 root iota. So the final solution set is, so we have two values for x, and the values are 3 plus 2 root 2 iota and 3 minus 2 root 2 iota. So this is how you solve the given quadratic equation. The question is solved using formula, and the quadratic equation here is 2x square minus x minus 1 equal to 0. So if we compare the given equation with the standard form, that is, if we compare this with ax square plus bx plus c equal to 0, okay, we obtain the value for a is 2, the value for b, that is coefficient of x, is -1, and the constant term c is also -1. The first step is we obtain the discriminant delta. So delta is calculated as b square minus 4ac, so which gives us -1 square minus 4 into a into c. So we obtain the value for delta as now -1 square, so that's 1. 4 2s is 8 into -1, that is -8, and this negative sign, so it becomes positive 8. So finally the value for delta is equal to 9. And now we could obtain the value for x using the formula x is equal to minus b plus or minus root of delta divided by 2a. Now let us substitute the values. So we get x equal to minus of -1, right? B is -1, plus or minus root of 9 divided by 2 times a is 2. So we simplify this, we obtain a negative of -1, so that becomes 1, plus or minus, now root of 9 is 3 divided by, now 2 times 2 is 4. So here we obtain two values for x. So x could be calculated as 1 plus 3 by 4, or x is equal to 1 minus 3 by 4. So here we obtain x equal to 4 divided by 4. So the value for x is equal to 1. And over here we get x as, now 1 minus 3 is -2 divided by 4. Now if we reduce this, we obtain the value for x as -1 by 2. So hence our solution set. So we have two values for x. First one is 1 and the second is -half. So this is how we solve the given quadratic equation. The question is, find k if the roots of the equation x square minus 4x plus k equal to 0 are equal. Now in order to solve this question, we first compare the given equation with the general form. So first we do the comparison with the general form. So comparing with the general form of quadratic equation is ax square plus bx plus c equal to 0. If we compare these two equations, we obtain the value for a as 1, the value for b is -4, and the value for c is k. Next is we obtain the value for the discriminant, that is delta, which is b square minus 4ac. So if we substitute the corresponding values, we obtain -4 square minus 4 into a, that is 1, into c, that is k. So we have delta equal to, now -4 square is 16 minus 4 times 1 times k, so that becomes 4k. Now as the roots are equal, so this condition has been given, so as the roots are equal, now we know that if the roots are equal, the discriminant value, that is delta, is equal to 0. So we bring down the value for delta. So we have 16 minus 4k is equal to 0. Now if we take 4k on the right hand side, we get 16 equal to 4 times k. Now dividing both sides by 4, we obtain the value for k equal to 16 by 4. So finally we have the value for k as 4. So this is how you obtain the value for k.